All the wheels are spinning, right? Yeah, we're good there. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Here we go.
I like that.
Let's do the show in 3, 2, 1.
There are many stories about Michael Sullivan. Some say he was a decent man. Some say there was no good in him at all. But I once spent 6 weeks on the road with him in the winter of 1931. This is our story.
I shoot the dead.
Ooh,
This is Film Sack.
jeez.
Double entendre.
Well, that should be okay.
Oh, sure.
Hello and welcome to Film Sack. That's right, this is Film Sack, mining the very depths of film entertainment for all mankind, episode 652. I'm Scott Johnson, joined today by Brian. Ice helps preserve the body done away.
Does it? That one's leaking. Oh, hi. This week on Film Sack, we hit the road to perdition when our favorite Tom with a mustache. No, not the private eye in Hawaii. The other Tom. You know, the one from Family Ties who plays the uncle. Yeah, Uncle Tom. No, not like that. Tom Hanks. I'm talking about Tom Hanks, all right? He's on the run with his son and a Tommy gun. No, not the one from Rocky V. The one in his briefcase. You know what? Forget I ever mentioned Tom and just settle in as we watch this 2002 all-star crime thriller coming-of-age mobster movie based on the graphic novel of the same name set in the very real world in the 1930s Prohibition era and fictionalized for our dramatic pleasure. Anywho, people always thought I grew up on a farm. And I guess in a way I did. A farm built on lies, stolen mob money, and my dead mom's sister's dog that I took from her beach home. I guess she did. But I lived a lifetime before that, a life where I had a job as a paper boy, where I rode my bike up hills both ways in the snow. And when the day was done, I smoked a pipe and got into snowball fights with my little brother. And when they ask why, I always give the same answer. I just tell them because I was 12 and it was the 1930s and Daddy had to drink in secret and Mommy had to take it. Randy, I'm glad it's you. Now stop crying, you big baby.
I'm glad it's you. Oh, that moment. All right, well done. Also with us today, Randy. I wouldn't expect too much help from Stanley Tucci, Jordan.
Aloha, Scott. Oh, aloha, Scott.
Nope.
Brian. And again,
Randy.
I welcome you all to this board meeting of men who wear hats indoors in the 1930s, despite an incredible amount of cultural pressure to use the hat racks and the coat racks that are just inside every external door. I've got my son at the table here, and I'm going to make him apologize to all of you like a little bitch, which, as you know, always leads to a perfectly well-adjusted father-son relationship. And then I'm going to let you all get back to doing crimes all over the Quad Cities. The Quad Cities, internationally known as a hotbed of mob activity. Okay, so before you go, 3 rules. Number 1. And I know I just said this, but you are required to wear your hat and coat inside. You just look better. And you really look better if you're Jude Law's hairline. Number 2, keep your eyes peeled for little kids stealing tobacco. It's all the rage right now, and you'll have no problem catching them because they always pull the tobacco out and fondle it in plain sight right outside the front door of the shop they stole it from. Stupid little kid smokers.
Right.
Number 3, always do your crimes when there's noises. So if you're going to shoot people, do it when it's raining outside, or turn on a stock market ticker tape machine in your hotel room and plug it into that great 1930s internet, like you do.
Everyone loves the 1930s internet. It was all bamboo and cat hair.
The best. Yeah.
I was surprised at the amount of technology that was in this 1930s movie. Go ahead.
Yeah, hold on to your butts because we got one more guy to talk about here. Yes, that's right, everybody. Let's bring up the rear of this train with Brian. He always throws a fit when his hard-boiled egg is bork dibbit.
Oh, it better be runny, but not too runny, but kind of runny. Oh, I'm sending it back,
that
Karen. All right, here we go. No setup, really.
All right.
We're on the road to. No, I'm just kidding. It's this one.
Oh man, I have such fond strong feelings about that song when I was growing up. So to hear it parodied, it was nice. It's nice to hear a parody once in a while, just to soften the blow.
Just to kind of ease it up between me and The Simpsons, kind of softening Harry Chapin's "Cats in the Cradle" for you.
Yeah, very nicely done. Sorry, YouTubers. Once again,
It's
you don't
about
get to hear
father-sons.
That's right. That's what this movie's about. So good news, everybody. We watched Road to Perdition, based on a graphic novel published originally by Dark Horse, and it's an amazing story brought to film by Sam Mendes. Let's see, what was his big thing before this? Was American
Pie.
no,
Pie. American
Leaf.
American Thora Birch. And American Kevin Spacey.
American Splendor. American
Maid.
Beauty. There you go.
American Sniper.
What was
Beauty.
it?
That's it.
Beauty.
Yeah, the Kevin Spacey deal. He was kind of a hot deal right after that, and so people were like looking for projects left and right for him. This is the one he chose, and I'm really glad he did, because I think this is one of my favorite movies ever. I love this movie, and we're going to talk about it. But before we get anywhere further than that, let's turn to Fake Fletcher for a description.
A road to perdition. A mob enforcer's son in 1930s Illinois witnesses a murder, forcing him and his father to take to the road, and his father down a path of redemption and revenge. You'll never look at James Bond the same again.
Nope.
Or Superman, for that matter.
Or Berlanti. Yeah. I guess specifically Berlanti Superman.
Berlanti Superman. Yeah.
Yeah. So I sort of knew this kid went on to do a ton of other things, but I'd totally forgotten about the Superman thing.
It's easy to forget because you look at this kid in 2002, and then you look at the new, the Superman and Lois or whatever the show is that was actually really good. At least the first season was. I haven't gone further than that.
Right.
But where they move off to the country with their two kids because it's their kids, Clark.
Yep.
They're
Right.
They're
assholes.
They need some time outside of Metropolis to do stuff.
Yeah.
But Tyler Hoechlin, man, like really, really good Clark Kent / Superman. I think.
He's a very big buff sort of testosterone man now. But I also think
what happened in those 20 intervening years or 18 intervening years.
He worked out, I suppose. But he
grew up on the farm.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think he's very good kid actor, though. I thought he was excellent in this.
And, for sure. Yeah.
I don't know. This must have been really something for him. He's
Tough role.
Walking around Paul Newman and freaking Tom Hanks and all these amazing actors and stuff. That must have been something else. But this is the movie, and it came out. I just wanted to point this out. This is like only 7 or 8 years after The Burbs, just to give you some context.
Yeah.
So you kind of have a weird sandwich there, because The Burbs being one piece of the bread, in the middle of that sandwich is some real achievement on Tom Hanks's part. We've got, Philadelphia and Forrest Gump, and like all his big deal business happens between The Burbs and Road to Perdition. And I remember when this came out, Road to Perdition was kind of quiet. It wasn't a huge deal. It's a serious film. It didn't feel like so much of a Tom Hanks vehicle as it was an ensemble kind of thing. I think he was into doing this. This feels Shawshank Redemption-y in a weird way, or Green Mile-y.
Oh no, yeah.
Which
Green
he
Mile,
had done just a few years prior to this, and so I at the time I remember going, well, all right, is this the tail end of his career? Like, are we done with Tom Hanks being on The Big Shot? Obviously not.
Is the dog now running out of the forest instead of running into the forest?
Yeah, go ahead.
Really particular time also.
Yeah.
Like I remember, and I have a question about this that I want to ask later, but I remember seeing it in the theaters in the same summer after it came out after like Spider-Man and Attack of the Clones 2,
right?
And I remember Men in Black 2 had just come out, and that was the summer of Lilo and Stitch and Minority Report. Like all these movies came out right before this. It was a big summer at the movies. And so like this just kind of like, The Bourne Identity. I'm just naming Film Sack movies, but these all came out right before this movie. And so this movie felt really small when it landed.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not like, mainstream audiences didn't really know Sam Mendes as a director like they maybe know him now, or even now he's still pretty artsy fartsy. 1917 was amazing. but a lot of people don't even know that was him.
Yeah.
I think he's an incredible director, and anytime he makes anything, I get super excited. But this was a case where, I don't know, there's 3 or 4 factors working in its favor. One is that ability to capture coming of age, but in an unusual circumstance. Like every kid has a coming of age story, but hardly anyone has it where their dad's like a freaking mafia hitman and is now being chased by the same family he served, and this whole road trip and robbing banks on the way, and then this psychopath freaking nightmare hitman that's after him. Like, it's really something.
So good.
Yeah. And then you're getting to work with a legend, freaking film legend, and his final live action movie was is Paul Newman. I mean, can you imagine that?
This is Paul Newman's last live movie. Did he do? So he did voice work after this.
He did. I want to say Toy Story. No, it's a Toy Story. Hold on, let's see. It was.
But you guys didn't see what happened in the movie. Tom Hanks killed him.
That was real. Oh shit.
Yeah. The commitment to the bit. Yes.
It was
really a method.
He had small roles in a couple of TV things, and then Cars was his last one, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, and he was great in that. He played Doc Hudson in that.
He was great as Mater. I think Paul Newman as Paul Newman's Mater was something special.
Yeah. Then they had that amazing. Do you remember the Meerkats movie? It was like live.
Oh yeah, the little live action Meerkats movie. We followed the family of Meerkats.
Yeah, but it had real like actors doing voices of the Meerkats.
Yeah.
So you had him as this
It's
character.
amazing how years we continue to try to make penguins movies with using different species.
Yeah.
It just went on and on.
Yeah. It's still the March of the
Meerkats
Penguins.
is really
right?
just a penguins movie, just starring penguins instead of meerkats.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, meerkats instead of penguins.
For sure. But yeah, that was really kind of it for him, or at least we were dialing down, and he was great in this. Like really something. And I think he got an Oscar nomination. I think I was trying to find awards, and I can't find it. Yeah, for this movie. Do I have that right?
It's like because Paul Newman got a few Oscar noms.
Oh
yeah.
For this movie,
No,
I'm
Oscar
looking it up right
nom-noms.
now.
Nom-nom-nom-noms.
Yeah, for his let's see. Best actor in a supporting role, Road to Perdition 2003. He was nominated. I don't think he won, but he deserved it. He was very good in it. Yeah.
This movie speaks to me like very few other movies do. This to me is everything that I go to see a movie for. Road to Perdition has it. It's a movie that makes you feel smart, even though you don't have to really be smart. I mean, there's like scenes where Tom Hanks, instead of going Tom Hanks is the right hand man, they have a whole scene where he plays piano, and it's a beautiful scene, and it's just beautifully shot and just great interaction with the actors. But it's also saying, oh, he's pretty much a non-factor without his right hand man. Literally plays it with his right hand. And that makes me feel smart, even though it's smacking me in the face. But it doesn't just go, here's a statement. He's the right hand man. No, it says here, see this visual cue, and this is what we're saying. And
this movie is
everything about this movie.
It's missing one thing I go to see movies for. Like, and it's a pretty big thing, and I just don't know what to do about it because, and that's women. There's just practically no women involved in this movie. And I don't know what I was trying to imagine. What if Road to Perdition had some women? Like, what if what if the crazy Jude Law character was played by a woman or something? Like, just give me something.
Well, you can, except there's two things.
Out...
There's two things going on here. One, it's a comic book that they were pretty adherent to. They didn't stray too far, and they stuck to those tropes. The time frame that this is all happening in. One should not be surprised that these men of ill repute don't do a whole lot with the women except tell them to do the laundry and don't pay attention to my murdering spree or whatever. Like I feel like that all fits. Like
thing of the time, sadly.
And it's supposed to be that too, because it is supposed to be this boy's coming of age story, and it's about his father. And so I get it. Yeah, I mean, we do want to, especially in movies now, we've become very aware of our excluding people and things from movies, and it's not like real life, but it was supposed to be such a micro-focused story that's what happens, because it's basically lone wolf and cub, the story. You've seen Mandalorian, right? All
Sure.
that stuff is
Sure.
kind of based on this lone wolf and cub kind of
being on the run and
anime story.
having a little charge that you've got to be in charge, that
Yeah.
you've got to protect while you're also on the run yourself.
Right.
All father and son movies are about how the father has ruined the son through various means. In this one, it's particularly like it's supposed to be drawing a contrast between Paul Newman's relationship with his son and Tom Hanks' relationship with his son. But like you know exactly what you're getting in for, right? Like from the very beginning, you're like, so is Paul Newman going to kill Daniel Craig, or is Daniel Craig going to kill Paul Newman, or is Paul Newman's hubris going to lead to both of them dying? You know, because these tropes are really common. This is a really common thing.
Yeah. But I love the simplicity of that, and I also love the scene where Paul Newman is going full Planet of the Apes beat down on the boy Daniel Craig in that room, just going, "I regret ever having you." Yeah. Just kidding. Come here, give me a hug.
Give me a big hug. Jesus save us. Jesus save us. He was doing a lot of that. There's a lot of, and I kind of like it. It's like that Catholic guilt inside of a crime organization is a fun thing.
Yeah.
I have a good time with that.
Yeah.
Daniel
There's a lot of themes here that was interesting.
Daniel Craig, 33 when he made this movie.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, and played it very well.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
his not just accent, but his like little reedy accent is kind of a crack up, and it's so to have so much James Bond time, and I mean, even Knives Out doesn't feel like such a stark contrast of voice as it does here, and I don't know why that is, because his Knives Out accent is so over the top, and this one
and once again, for the billionth time, we're introduced to these characters in 1931. Most of them are supposed to be first-generation immigrants, right?
Yes.
A bunch of them are supposed to be Irish immigrants. You can just let Daniel Craig do an accent that's going to be more familiar to him. You don't have to have him doing this. It's fine, but Paul Newman,
but then you have to.
Who's a Jewish American, does a better sort of little bit of Irish.
Yeah, but he's a legend for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah, and doesn't it make it more difficult to have those two characters, Paul Newman's character and Daniel Craig's character, not sound more similar? If you let Daniel Craig have an accent that's a little bit closer to what he can do, then you worry about, well, people are wondering, are they really father and son? Because they sure don't sound alike. And
yeah, it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me at all.
I didn't even. No, I didn't. I only noticed it like once, and even then I just skipped over it, because his character is such a sociopath, and he's all over the place. I just kind of loved how mixed up it was, that it was not a consistent performance, because the character is not a consistent. Doesn't act consistent. He's a rogue. He'll do anything.
Wasn't what's it called? Casino Royale's a year later than this, right? That's the first time we even see him as Bond. So I'm wondering if I didn't see this in theaters and meant to, and I watched it later on DVD. And it was after the first James Bond, and I remember being thrown by that. Like, oh, this is James Bond. Like, it's impossible to go to such a big, renowned role and then not have everyone see that every time they see your older movies, or even other movies you do beyond that. You run the risk of being typecast. Like, nobody's going to watch a Roger Moore movie and not think of James Bond. That was impossible with Roger Moore. I think that Daniel Craig has more range, and so he has therefore been fine. But that bothered me at first. When I first saw it, I've seen this movie 12 times since, and I have no problem with his role. I think he's great.
I want to get to this. Because I've seen this. I've now seen this movie twice. I saw it when it came out. I saw it at the theater. This is the time frame when I was seeing every new movie at the theater. I remember seeing it, but I did not remember anything about this movie. We're rewatching it yesterday.
Really?
Not a sausage, not a speck of this movie.
Not a sausage.
Hung out in my brain.
Ending. Yeah. Not a sausage. Go ahead.
And I don't understand that. And I would like to understand that, because the next year I saw Mystic River at the movies, and I saw it one time, and I don't think I want to see it again, but so much of that movie lives in my memory. Like Mystic River, like and it's like what is it? What is like really there? And it's like things like Tim Robbins' performance and his characterization and like the way Clint Eastwood directed that movie just really stuck with me. And I'm watching this and I'm like, I don't understand why, and none of this is memorable for me.
I it's interesting. There is a movie type where it is. I don't know if it's because it's so layered and there's so many misdirections that you feel lost. Because even watching the ending again, I was like, wait a minute. There's like 3 different things that happened at the end. Am I remember all of them? I can't remember. But I also had the same feeling when I watched stuff like Fried Green Tomatoes, because lots of times, even though I've seen a million shocking moments in that film, I go back to it every time and I'm watching it. I'm like, I kind of forget what the next scene's going to be. And I'm like, then it starts coming to,
Can I have a
focus.
trope
Go
alert
ahead.
there, Scott?
You can always have a trope alert. Oh yeah, let's see.
Take as many as you want.
This movie's got, sorry, we ran out of time to tell you our story. We're just going to put it up on the screen at the very end. And here's some words to read. And we got a narrator. We got the kids saying some stuff. Come on.
I didn't
movie.
mind it. I didn't mind it. I
No,
like
I
it.
didn't mind that
I think
either.
it's handled
thought it was
really
smart.
well. To me, it feels like, again,
Yeah.
it's very Shawshanky, and that I don't ever hear anyone complain about the way Shawshank ended. This, if anything, apes from that a little bit. Like it feels
Wait a
like it
minute.
kind of takes
Shawshank
from it.
ends with words on the screen?
Oh hell
No, but
yeah!
it ends with the narration.
But a
doesn't it?
narration.
Yeah, it ends
narration,
with some
yes.
words as well. It has there's a dedication to someone who died, and I don't know, some other stuff in there. But
Because like my memory of the end of Shawshank Redemption is that it's a perfect actual end where I see the last thing and I don't know what I'm seeing exactly. Whereas this movie ends with a kid telling me, I never held a gun again. You know, like, oh,
Yeah.
you're
well, he
okay,
doesn't end with
great.
that.
You're-
That's about halfway through his dialogue. Toward the very end, he talks about, you know, I find it totally satisfying. I think this is a weird
wanna-
take. I don't get it.
You want to know where they do you want to know where they do that, Randy? And I hate it. Shavings Privates Ryan's, because they do that. They book in that movie and I hate it. I'm like, you tell me, don't do. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see
What do you
old
talk?
man,
What do you
whatever.
mean?
No.
What do you mean? Oh, when he
At the
turns into
very
an old
end
guy.
of Saving Private Ryan, they do that, which is the opposite of what they do here.
Oh, it's
they don't.
It's iconic though. At the end of that, you don't like that,
Yeah, I know and hate it.
dude.
But that's fine.
You and
I don't have to
Spielberg.
like it.
Look,
You
if
don't
you
have to hate it.
no. But if you and Spielberg were at a party, I'm pretty sure you guys would
Screw
throw
that
your.
guy. I'm gonna punch him in the face.
You'd throw your
I'm already a
martinis.
punch.
You'd throw your martinis on the ground, and you would go to town. That's what
Right.
would happen there.
Yeah.
And I would want to be
Let me
there to
tell you
film it.
something.
Yeah, that'd be a
It's
very
not-
viral video, by the way. If that
It's
got
not
out.
a big complaint. I am not making a big complaint. I'm saying there is a trope here where
Right.
you don't just end your movie with an end, and instead you go, also, I'm going to tell you about what happened later in this character's life. And it's like, I don't need that. That you just took away from. I was contemplating this incredible thing where this kid makes it to the old folks, not the old folks home, the farm, the old farmer's home, right? And he makes it there. You got a shot of that. And I'm like, this movie has already been shot so beautifully for so much. I'm like, oh yeah, leave me with that. No, I got to tell you, imagine if Star Wars ended with the big celebration and the hanging of medals, and then instead of going right to the awesome orchestra, it said, and then they went on to more adventures, and Luke became a Jedi. Like, no, don't.
And you don't
Yeah,
don't
but this
think
kind
that
of
Lucas
movie-
wanted to do that? That's exactly what Lucas wanted to do, and they said no.
But they didn't really do that here. They
No, I mean, it
basically
was-
just
No.
he's still in kid voice. He's not talking like he's
Yeah.
50. He's just going.
Yeah, the
Trope.
final lines. The final lines are: "I saw then that my father's only fear was that his son would follow the same road, and that was the last time I ever held a gun. People always thought I grew up on a farm, and I guess in a way I did, but I lived a lifetime before that in those
A
6
body
weeks on
farm.
the road in the winter of 1931. When people ask me if Michael Sullivan was a good man or if there was just no good in him at all, I always give the same answer. I just tell them he was my father,
Yeah,
and that's it.
I like it.
And that's
paw.
yeah, and I don't think, I definitely don't think you need more, like seeing him as a young adult working in a shoe shop or something like that. I think you just, it's a good.
Yeah, that's fine. if that's what Randy was wanting,
good
it's
narration to wrap up. I don't remember words though. There were words too. You said, Scott?
Yeah, well, just him.
That was the words you just said.
No, Randy says there's words
no.
on screen, but I don't remember that part. Were there
I don't
words on
remember there
screen?
being text on screen either.
No, those are called credits, Randy. You may have heard of
No, but for real, I'm trying to remember.
Those words just kept telling me who played all the characters.
Yeah, weird.
I don't need to know this.
But Randy, you're saying while he was narrating, they were doing stuff on screen? I don't remember any of that.
No. I'm saying. Okay, so this movie is a comic book.
Yeah.
It is really. It's one of the most comic booky movies I've ever seen.
Really?
And I love that about this movie.
Yeah.
The freaking the Tommy gun in the street things with Paul Newman standing perfectly still, and we don't get sound effects. Oh my God.
So delicious.
It is like watching a comic book projected onto my television.
Right.
And I love that. What this movie never does until the last minute is have a narrator telling me what this kid is.
Well, that's how the movie starts.
starts
He's literally on the
starts
beach
too.
at the beginning at the thing. That's in that same scene, starting this thing, and like, here's my story. Like I think that's a perfectly fine wrapper.
Yeah, and he basically says that. So maybe you didn't read the graphic novel. Okay, so there's a big thing in the graphic novel, Road to Perdition, that is essentially it's the same way. The kid is telling the story, but he's also saying that parts of this story are firsthand experience, and parts of these stories are from things that he's read about his dad. And
yeah, because I mean, there were a lot of scenes that took place in rooms
outside
where he wasn't there. Yeah,
right.
I mean, there's a scene that takes place with two people who are dead. So you can't really recount what happened between Paul Newman and.
And what's interesting about the backstory behind all this is Max Allen Collins, who did Dick Tracy for the longest time, and I guess probably got his feet wet even more with the graphics part of it. He's always been into real crime, real true stories, but then fictionalizing, the events, right? And so he wrote that all into Road to Perdition, and it's a really good graphic novel if you never read it before.
I highly recommend it.
Pretty close to.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'd highly recommend it, and you're right. It does stay close to the source material. It's very, very much. It's not like panel to panel or anything, but it's the tone of it. The story is pretty intact. All that.
Yeah.
So Randy, let me ask you this: what's your preferred version of Blade Runner? Do you like the version that's got
unicorns?
Well, we all love the unicorns.
Right.
But do you like the version where Deckard is narrating and kind of gives the end of the story? Do you like the ending that's ambiguous? Which version do you?
I don't know the answer to this question. I need to,
well, it's you.
At some point,
it's been a while. Right.
At some point in my life, I need to sit down and watch
all the versions
Runner,
back to back or something.
Just like watch a version and decide whether or not I like that one in particular.
That's a good idea. I haven't done that in a long time either.
Whatever version we watched for Film Sack is the only one I've seen, I think.
Okay. We went with which one did we go with, the unicorn version? I can't remember now.
I think we watched the definitive, like the Deckard is a replicant version, basically where you don't get the driving towards the Shining, driving towards the Overlook Hotel at the end, and Sean Young is still alive at the end, kind of thing.
And they're in a car, and it's bright and shiny, and the music's happy, and all that.
And
although I guess
going back to my original question, why didn't this movie stick with me in particular? I think the answer of it is not versioning. I promise I'm not saying the Sam Mendes should have done something to make this a better movie. This is a great movie. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's just that I think so much of its greatness is dependent on the incredible cinematography.
Yeah.
And it almost comes to a point where I'm not even thinking about Tom Hanks's character. He's the main freaking character. And I really don't care.
The boy is your
Randy. Yeah. Randy is not alone in what he's saying. Not that I agree with him, but if you go to Rotten Tomatoes, you'll notice this is sitting around 85%. In my opinion, it's 100%. But there are a few people that essentially say that the cinematography is so, is so stylized, and this is what people say about other movies too, that is almost to the point of distraction. Now, can you believe that there's people out there, there's critics who have voted this below 50%? to drop
Yeah, I
that
don't-
score down.
Well,
It's
there's
just
always
crazy. to
there's
me.
always stuff like that. You're always going to.
I can't believe it.
I mean,
But,
look,
yeah.
in a lot of ways, this thing is just a bunch of stereotypes all stacked together in movie form, and that's why it feels
Right.
like the original comic book, because that comic book is absolutely that. It's a noir film told in 2002, which is a
panel form.
yeah, and it's very good in lots and lots of ways. But I guess if you're going into this I expect Tom Hanks to dominate everything he's in, you're going to be disappointed because that's not the role here. In fact, I think it was his kid Chet. There's something in the trivia. One of his kids said it's by far their favorite role their dad ever did, and they asked him why, and he says because he's got very few things to say, and he's just, it's mostly in his face and how he's moving and what he's looking like.
Do we still really think that Chet is Tom Hanks' son? Really?
I don't know if that's ever been proven out, but you make a good point.
But yeah, I mean, there's like the scene where Tom Hanks gets shot by McGuire at the end. You're on the outside of the glass. You're hearing the gunshots, but you're not hearing any of the motion or movement inside. And even when they cut to the inside of that room, and McGuire's setting up the camera and all that, you're still hearing the audio from outside, the ocean. You hear the click of the camera, the shutter opening to take his picture, but that's it until Michael Jr. is inside. And I think that's
absolutely
just
incredible. Yeah. Every bit of it. Like Tom Hanks' best role, his kid is allowed to have his own, or Rita Wilson's kid is allowed to have his own opinion. But this is coming after The Green Mile and Castaway. Castaway, guys. That is like the acting tour de force in Castaway. I can't believe you would say that this is even better than that. It's just like it's not. He's got a particular role to play. He does it pretty well. You totally forget that it's Tom Hanks. It's good. I only remembered that it was Tom Hanks in the very last shot of him when he's up against that wall bleeding out, because he looked a little funny. He looked a little bit, that little mustache actor,
Yeah. I just like that it goes against type for his normal roles, and
For sure,
I like that it's just different because everything else for him is good. It just all sort of feels a little samey after a while, and this wasn't samey. He also had a fake nose, which I thought was kind of great. Give him a fake nose, just for fun.
Why not?
Yeah, they said it made him look more mobstery. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
that's a mobster nose for sure.
Yes, mob knows. That's what happens.
I guess
You
so.
get a bad case of it.
Sure.
I certainly liked it better than Bridge of Spies, which is another kind of Tom Hanks going against type. Even though that one did better critically, I think, than this one did.
I like Bridge of Spies as well. But I would say if you ask me which one I'll watch again, Road to Perdition every time. I'll turn this on and just ride the slow ride with them all the way to the end of the road, baby. Every
something
time.
Randy said early on is like this movie, or maybe it was you, Brian, who said it. This movie makes you feel smart when you're watching it.
Yeah.
Bridge of Spies made me feel dumb.
Yeah. You want your viewers to feel smart, even though they're not necessarily smart, but you want to do that. That makes me feel
there was a little too much going on, and certainly for what that's a Bridge of Spies for me is a theater movie. Right. No distractions, nothing that can get in the way, because there is so much stuff going on that you need to keep track of, character names and all that sort of thing.
I think that's actually a Sam Mendes thing.
Is it also Bridge of Spies?
No. I'm saying Sam Mendes tries to make the viewer feel like they're catching on things that he doesn't beat you over the head with it, but he definitely puts something in front of you that makes you feel like, oh, I get this. American Beauty is just like filled with that shit.
But without beating you over the head with it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and part as the trivia goes, he says that the reason he picked this project over a bunch of others, and there's a whole list of these like highfalutin projects he was offered. He says he chose this one partly because it was more visual and more not obvious, but I can't remember the term he used, but basically he didn't want
clearer vision, maybe.
Yeah, well, American Beauty was full of complex dialogue, like a lot.
Yeah.
So this wasn't, and I think maybe he was looking for something a little less wordy, and I think he found it. I think it's a good example. I can't say enough. I'll say it later when I rate it, but I think the soundtrack is one of these perfectly complimentary soundtracks for a movie. It's so good. I don't know who did it. We should look that up.
It seems so unique too. It feels familiar but unique. It feels like a lot of that music I was hearing stuff like with Fried Green Tomatoes and the Green Mile and all those movies from the kind of that era.
It's Shawshanky in a lot of ways.
It's Thomas Newman.
Yeah.
Yes, you're naming other Thomas
related to Paul Newman? No, spelled differently, Brian. But yeah.
Yeah, he would go on to do he'd work again with he'd do Daniel Craig again with Skyfall. But that guy also did the 1917 soundtrack. It's also very reminiscent of this. It's beautiful. It's almost like nobody quite like him. In terms of like the kind of sound he evokes. I just love it.
At the time, he was just about to go compose all the music for Finding Nemo, and that score is legendary. So like you can feel where he is here.
Yeah, I if
Dunaway saw where I was going.
I missed it entirely. What'd you guys say? I missed it.
We did the legend, and I said, "Wait for it, Derry."
Oh,
like we were perfectly in sync. It was great.
Nicely done. You're meant. Oh, that's a terrible thing to say. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, don't say that.
I'm not going to say that. Anyway, what else about this movie? I had a really hard time making notes for it because I really don't have any complaints about it. I still think there are a couple of things of really interesting note here. The door bit where Daniel Craig has just murdered the mom and the daughter.
Yeah.
And we didn't even mention it, but the mom in this is what's her beak?
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yeah. She got kind of shafted in terms of screen time, but it's a small role.
Right, well, again, the only the only purpose of a woman in this movie is to die.
Yeah, kind of. But anyway, she's barely in it, but she's very good.
Tucci's barely in. Another great actor, and Tucci's always great. Good role for him, but underused as a character. He's supposed to be somebody you have to be kind of afraid of because he's a bigger boss.
Yeah.
I wondered, actually wrote this down in the middle of the movie. I wondered, why didn't they give Stanley Tucci's character something interesting about him? Right? Like, because at this point you're just like, oh, here's another mini boss. And like, if he had, I don't know, a scar on his face, or if he had a funny
scar face,
a funny way of saying a word or something, you know what I mean? Like,
some sort of, so he's not just a generic.
Everybody
boss who could just be a CEO of a company.
Well, his is a virtual scar because he represents Capone. So he's he's a upper level Capone confidant, and then above him is Capone. So you're supposed to have this feeling of like, ooh, one layer left, and then you're in Capone Town. I think that's kind of the whole vibe with him. But also, it just felt like overcasting. Like you could have gotten away with any no-name looking face for that character. It didn't have to be Stanley Tucci, and I think we have an expectation when it's Stanley Tucci that it's going to be a major role. It just wasn't. Just kind of like, oh, just a guy.
Another Kieran Hines, also fun but underutilized, I think.
Love
Kieran Hines, by the way, always looks like he stood up too quick.
I've never noticed that before. You okay?
Yeah. I think that the thing that where his face looks like it's sinking, I think that's because he's the only guy in Hollywood who hasn't had a facelift. I think
there you go.
Happening.
Could be. Yeah. He's amazing. I love that guy, and everything. Your movie is better when he's in it. But boy, what a tiny one this is. I mean, it's a really important role. Like there's that moment, but it's
effective because you're not expecting him to get bumped off so quickly. I'd forgotten, like Randy, so much of this movie. If you would have asked me, by the way, I would have said, oh yeah, it's Tom Hanks and Tobey Maguire. Even though it's not Tobey Maguire, it's a character. It's Jude Law playing a character named Maguire. But for whatever reason, my head said, yeah, Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, makes sense.
And this is also, we're having a time travel issue here because this is also 2 years before Rome, and Rome's the first time I ever saw this Kieran Hines guy. Mm-hmm. And so it just feels like, oh, all these people from things I know now are all in this thing. And maybe I would have felt the same about Tucci in 2002 that it's different than it is now because Tucci had done some big things, but not like he has since. So I don't know. This movie's weird because on the one hand, it looks like it was made yesterday. Mm-hmm. And on the other hand, it's 22 years ago.
Once again, when you do good cinematography, your movie's timeless.
Yeah.
It is absolutely timeless.
Yeah, I agree. This movie does a really good job of just standing on its own. There's nothing about it where I feel like it's going to age weird. The only thing would be, I guess we get to a point where Tom Hanks is as old as Paul Newman was when he filmed it,
yeah.
and that might feel weird, but it feels. This is like The Birdcage, very different movie, but The Birdcage never feels old to me, and I think part of it is because the way it's filmed, it didn't feel like guys in the 90s filming things. It felt like somebody who was a time traveler and said,
Yeah.
movies always should look this good. So that's how we're making it. And then it holds up. I mean, it's also well written and acted and everything, but yeah, I really respect it for that. And I think Sam Mendes movies are like that. I think American Beauty holds up in that same regard. And I saw 1917 just here recently, finally.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Finally got
Haven't
around
seen
to
it, and I'm very excited about it.
That
Yeah.
movie's awesome. Like,
So good.
really good. Don't get too bogged down in the cliche that's around that movie, which is he basically filmed the whole thing in one take, even though he didn't, but he kind of, it looks like he did. And there are definitely stretches of holy shit, how did you film that long without having to redo it 400 times? Or maybe he did, and that makes it even more impressive or whatever. Don't make that the whole gimmick, because just behind that is a movie that is one of the most taut, like, intense things I've maybe ever seen. It's so good.
Yeah.
But it feels like this movie in a lot of ways, partly because of that music, and I don't know. Sam Mendes, that guy's great.
That guy does stuff really
He's
good.
great.
He should make more movies.
I'd say he's a talented. He should make more movies.
He should do movies. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody watched it on Amazon Prime, right?
Correct.
Yes, I believe so.
I think I'm done with them.
Oh yeah. Their
Oh, really?
transfers can be questionable. I agree.
You thought this wasn't a good transfer? It looked fine to me.
There were some scenes where I was like, "Oh yeah, this has been changed." Like the
really?
quality of what you were seeing was changed somehow. I was actually looking up the cameras they used for this movie, because I was like, "Are these the well lit exteriors?" Is what I'm talking about. Like the scene near the end on the beach. I was just like, I was looking up the cameras of, like, did they use a funny camera here? Like, it's 2002. There was some weird things going on, but my point was going to be that Amazon Prime, it's now giving me commercials in the middle of a movie, and I'm not going to put up with that.
I didn't get any
I
of
didn't
that.
get that. Yeah.
Yeah, I normally get some of the pre-movie ones and the post-movie ones now on Amazon, unless you do the $2 upgrade or whatever. But I haven't had any in the middle.
I must have done the $2 upgrade, because I did not have that issue.
The $2 upgrade.
Yeah.
What's the equivalent of free cock to Prime? Is it Prime?
Prime.
Or is
Prime.
it,
Free. It's Freevee, because that's what they got, right? They had their little Freevee TV crap or whatever it is too.
Yeah, they have their own. Amazon owns Freevee. They owned.
Yeah.
What was the thing before it was called Freevee? They changed the name. It was called
Amazon. It was something with Amazon.
Oh,
right?
it was IMDb TV.
Oh,
So
that was it. That was it. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
also owned by Amazon, but
only
the,
a slight improvement to the name with Freevee.
I just want them to be honest with me. Like, if they come out, they came out with this email and said, "Hey, we got good news. There's ads coming.
Good news, everybody."
But here's the bad news. The bad news is ads. But the good news is, for just $2, you can not have them." And I thought, why don't you just say you're raising your prices instead of saying we're introducing ads, but you have a lot of, like, the way they did that was so workaround backwards. PR bullshit. I was so mad about that. But I can't be. But the thing is, I rely on Amazon shipping stuff for so many things that I'm never not going to have Prime. So
Yeah.
it's not like I can. It's not like Netflix where I'm like, I'm going to unsub for a month. No, you have Prime.
right.
You're going to
No,
have
I
Prime.
Suck it.
I need my
Unsub
stuff
and-
quick.
Yeah. I need it quick. I need it free. I need it same day.
Right.
I need all those things in some regard, and I'm not ready to give it up. But I get it, Randy. I get why that's irritating. It's totally irritating. It's stupid as shit.
Yeah.
I love how this movie is a celebration of the time frame, and it's not perfectly technically accurate. It's going to be okay. We don't need to, like, there's so much in the trivia. It's like, this car is actually from 1933. Calm down. This is
Settle down now.
is a great celebration of the time frame. And the movie gets its most celebratory when Michael Sullivan Sr. Goes to town to harass a guy who's running a club for the joint. And like, oh man, everything about, there's this tracking shot where he's walking through the club and you're hearing the music and it's loud and thumping. And
that
then
plays, what a combo, right? Like a dance hall, bar, brothel.
It's got everything.
Yeah, it was like we should have gone through the kitchen to see him making pizzas or something.
It was a stark reminder of how Prohibition really screwed us hard.
Oh, and it's the depression, right? And so like the guy who's taking you through all of that is actually commenting out loud on how weird it is that there's people with some money during this depression time. But like when we get into the inner office, in order to keep you thinking about the club above and outside the room, the stuff in the office keeps getting shaken. And it's like this subtle little shaking going on in there. And it's just so incredible. It's just one of those things where you're like, this is a masterwork. How did this not get nominated for even more Oscars? It's awesome.
Yeah, did all right that year, but you're right. I think it should have won more. Well, let's just go back in time. Who won the Best Picture in 2002? Does anybody know?
Oh, I could look it up.
2002. I feel like I just named them earlier. Hold on. 2002, so it would have been the 2003 Oscar.
Beautiful Mind, I think.
Chicago won the Best Picture.
Oh, not Beautiful Mind. Was that from the previous year?
That was probably from the because remember, this was held in 2003. It's the 2003 awards for the year 2002.
Got it. That makes sense,
right? So that was the year of Gangs of New York, which was a powerhouse at the end of the year.
Yeah.
It was also the year of The Pianist, when everyone at the Oscars was really uncomfortable because they were going to get up on stage and have to talk about Roman Polanski.
Well, then also they were going to have to pronounce it The Pianist instead of The Pianist.
Steve Martin hosted that year? Yeah, it was Steve Martin. Yeah, here we go. Chris Cooper won for adaptation, which is funny because he was in Mendez's previous film and won an Oscar for that as well.
Yep.
Let's see. John C. Reilly, Christopher Walken, Catch Me If You Can.
The Hours, Catch Me If You Can. So another Tom Hanks deal.
That was a tough year. It was just a tough year. That's all it was to it.
But Tom Hanks not nominated for either for Catch Me If You Can or this, which I think is kind of surprising.
But again, you have in that same year, you have Gangs of New York and About Schmidt, which everybody called Jack Nicholson's greatest movie he'd ever made, and you have Michael Caine in a movie, and like for some reason they really wanted to nominate Nicolas Cage. And it's like you just have a plethora of riches that year, and Tom Hanks just doesn't quite make the cut.
Well, adaptation was a big whoop at the time.
Oh, this was the year Michael Moore got up on stage and said, "Shame on you, Mr. President. Shame on you."
It was a really uncomfortable Oscars.
Yeah.
Oh, and this was also Two Towers, which meant they were not okay. So Lord of the Rings movie 2 is not going to get a lot of love, but they were saving it all for Return of the King, and that's the next year's when that one, right?
I think Two Towers had 7 nominations. That's pretty good.
It did all right, but it wasn't going to win the big ones. They were going to save it until the trilogy was over, and they gave him everything the next year, so it all worked out. But
you can have it all.
They used to do this thing called it was like the Science and Technical Awards the night before the Oscars. And in the middle of the Oscars, they love to tell you about it in the middle of the Oscars. Okay.
Yeah.
And last night,
you should have been here last night.
Last night, all the nerds showed up, and we.
It's always hosted by some dude and then a current Hollywood hottie, right? So it's like this year, Charlize Theron and Andy Dick went to host
hope they never put Andy Dick anywhere. That guy sucks ass. He's the worst.
Back then, we didn't quite know yet.
No, we didn't know.
Do we hate Andy Dick? What did he do? I don't remember any.
No, you go look that up on your own. He sucks ass.
Last name, really.
Everything about him sucks. Go read if you want.
I don't want to. I feel like I dodged something here, so I'm just going to ignore it.
Yeah, you did.
It's not a question of do we hate Andy Dick now. It's a question of did we ever really like Andy Dick?
No, the answer is no.
Was he in News Radio? What was he in?
News Radio.
Yeah,
that was
News
the
Radio.
thing for him. Yeah, News Radio.
He's basically he's partially blamed for Phil Hartman's death. Is one thing. This is just one thing, but they partially blame it for it because she had been clean for a lot of years, apparently had drug issues before they got married or whatever, and then Andy Dick brought her some crazy cocaine combo thing and got her all hooked again.
Try this.
Yeah,
it's gotta be awesome.
And then she ended up killing him while she was on these drugs, and anyway, it's awful.
Living up to my namesake.
Andy
I'm Andy Dick.
Andy Dick. Here's some scrutiny for you. I think we ought to figure out if this is real.
Scrutiny.
Sam Mendes confessed that Paul Newman walked on his hands between takes to amuse the crew. Come on.
Why would he let him walk on his hands? That's Mendez's hands. He has to use those to play piano. Oh, he was walking on his own hand.
No, Paul Newman's own hand. So so I want you just for a moment here to imagine near 80 Paul Newman. Okay, 78, 79, something like that. Jumping on his hands and walking around the set. I don't know if I believe it.
And then dead a couple of years later. Amazing.
The blood all went to his head. Yeah, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know he was like, find me in his prime, find me a handsomer dude in Hollywood. You can't do it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You can't do it. And look, I like the ladies, but good Lord, Paul Newman when he was young. Jeez.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That dude, blue eyes.
Cool Hand Luke.
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool Hand Luke era. And then he goes on and blows all our minds by marrying a lady after a very brief marriage in the 50s. He marries Joanne Woodward and stays with her till the very end, and she's still living at 94.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Good job.
Yeah, good job. Well done.
Well, so my mom had this whole list.
It was
like
a hall pass for your mom, Paul Newman?
Maybe that might have been an early version of this, but she had this whole list. The top of the list was absolutely Robert Redford. Like Robert Redford was the sexiest actor that ever sexed sex.
Yeah.
But then like I'm trying to remember, there was like she had grown up in a time when, Jimmy Stewart was given to be the, the thing.
All right.
And like, and for her parents, it was Clark Gable, right? And like, so it was a very, very confused.
There's definitely kind of an F, Marry, Kill kind of thing going on with Paul Newman and Robert Redford, whereas, Paul Newman's the guy you stay with, but Robert Redford's the guy that you have a one-night stand with kind of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely. And the fact that they worked together when they were both just the hottest dudes in Hollywood and not Starsky and Hutch, what was it called?
Starsky and Hutch, I love it.
Butch and Sundance.
Yeah, Butch
That's
and
the
Sundance.
thing I want to watch.
They were together in The Sting too, right?
Yes, I think that was their other...
Oh, you mean as well, yeah.
That's right. There was a Sting too. It was the funniest part of that.
Was there? There was a sequel to that?
There was a sequel, yeah.
Well, it's probably
Oh,
terrible.
Steve McQueen. She loved Steve McQueen.
Yeah, there's all the names you've mentioned, they're all just like this of a time thing, and my mom's the same. She's just like, oh.
Yeah, who's of our time? You think people can look
Chris
back and go
Pratt,
like, oh, Tom Holland, Brad Pitt.
Chris Pratt, Brad Cooper.
You used to hear George Clooney a lot. Now you hear
Brad
Ryan
Pitt was
Gosling.
absolutely the man at one point.
He still is. I think Brad Pitt
he's
still does
the
it.
man, but I mean, you couldn't mention Hollywood sexiest man alive without Brad Pitt, right?
I'm not sure you still can't. I think he's still up there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think he's still a contender.
Yeah.
There was a Zac Efron time. Like you heard that name a lot.
Yeah.
A few years ago.
Yeah, but with legendary status, who will still be doing amazing things at 80? Let's think who that will be.
Oh gosh,
it's going to be Bradley Cooper.
You know what?
Yeah,
Bradley Cooper, maybe Bradley Cooper,
he's,
maybe even we just talked about him. Maybe Daniel Craig has got that longevity.
But you look at, Bradley Cooper appreciates, doesn't just do the big, blockbuster stuff. Like his
Dungeons and Dragons cameo is my favorite thing he's ever done.
Right, but you look at no kidding. But you look at his his thing last year, the conductor.
Oh yeah.
Maestro was the movie.
Maestro.
I can't think of who he was portraying, but he believes in the old Hollywood stuff too. So I think he will continue into old Hollywood.
Yeah,
and
I don't think we're ever getting rid of Leo DiCaprio. I think he's going to be until he will die at 95, having just completed 15 movies,
and he'll be dating a 30-year-old.
Yeah, a 30. He'll never over the 25.
Over,
Come on, we know 30
it. Are we talking crazy? Like
he stopped. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, if he hasn't stopped dating people under 25 yet, it's not going to happen.
I'm sure if you asked me this question just a few years ago, I would have said Daniel Day-Lewis is like guaranteed to have the long career with the huge accolades later. I don't know now, but it feels like it.
Well, I know that he could have if he decided not to retire, but I also think his legacy will last well past. I think he counts. He's not the same as Heartthrob though. Nobody looks at him. Well, I mean, he's an attractive man, but nobody looks at him and goes, "Oh, this Heartthrob actor! Can't wait to see him with his shirt off." No, we're like, I can't wait to see him in a too tall hat in a Scorsese movie yelling at shit. Like
he'll be. Yeah, he makes it onto the People magazine sexiest man alive or sexiest people alive list, but it's more like a honorable mention, or we feel like we need some credence in our list, so we need a Daniel Day-Lewis added to it.
Yeah, because he's got that guy's legitimately one of the greatest actors ever to do the job.
Tom Hardy, is he the sexiest man potential?
I think he's got potential personally.
Ever?
I think you could
Yeah.
go on.
I
He's
think
got
he's gonna
issues.
age really cool.
He's
I think
got,
he's gonna
he
age
does.
better.
He's cool. The older he gets, the cooler he gets. But
Problem
Yeah.
is we don't know really what he looks like unless we watch Venom.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. True.
It's always a matter of the actor making good decisions their whole lives, right? Like when you talk about those legends, they made good decisions their whole lives. They didn't completely sink their their image.
Did
Not-
Liam
you know,
Neeson it?
right, it's like Christian Bale is who I'm thinking of, like someone
Okay.
who could have had and still might like totally recover and have a huge elderly career, right? But like managed to make some mistakes publicly, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like when we talk about those greats, they don't, you know,
They
they don't
make bad mistakes.
yeah, they don't say horrible things, get caught on camera, you know,
Oh,
or
I see what you're
whatever.
saying. Yeah, I thought you meant like bad movie choices, but yeah, you're talking
Well,
about.
You know
Well,
what?
they
No,
all
they
make-
can make bad movie choices.
yeah.
Oh,
they all do that.
and they do. Yes.
Yeah.
There's
And
some
so-
movies in Paul Newman's history where I would just kind of go, okay, what are you doing
Okay,
there?
Paying the bills.
Yeah, you
Okay,
paying the bills
Mater.
there, buddy? You get all that covered in your? Did you
Wasn't
pay the
Mater.
electrical
God,
that month?
Folks,
I'm trying to start something. Play
Quit trying to
along.
make Paul Newman as Mater a thing.
But that was he was really good in that though. Like he
Yeah,
he
it's Mater,
elevated. Well, he wasn't Mater, but he elevated the Hudson character. Elevated that movie, and I thought made it really interesting. And he died right after that. But you know, so we're never going to get it again. But you know, like whoever that is in the future, you know, good luck to him because the scrutiny is big. You know, like you could say, oh, what about Tom Cruise? Tom Cruise will be venerable. He'll always be thought of. We'll always remember him, but we'll always know he's just a little goofy. He's a little weird.
A little weird.
Yeah.
Little
Who do we
full on.
have? We need more. Like you mentioned Jimmy Stewart earlier. That guy had an impeccable reputation. Who's another one? These older guys. They all did. You know, they had these things. Tom Hanks seems to be that guy. Although there's all kinds of controversy that he's some kind of psycho.
Lizard person, like
Yeah.
the
Wizard person.
He's like getting together
the-
with Hillary in the pizza shop and
Yeah.
the
Oh my
basement of the
God.
pizza shop kind of thing.
I
right?
just don't believe
Jesus.
any of that
Who's
shit.
say-
I don't
who's
hear
saying-
it.
Of course not.
Don't ask me. They're not people I hang out with. But the point
Yeah.
is, as far as you know, people where we know that they freaked out on camera or they did something terrible to somebody or act like they're debutantes, he never seems like that guy. So I think he'll go down as kind of a legendary. I mean, he already is. He's already achieved it. He's there, right?
I was almost with you on that one. Gentlemen.
But he's already there, right? We don't have to fight for Tom Hanks's place in
No, not at
Hollywood
all.
history.
Oh no,
Yeah, I
not for
don't-
me.
You know,
Is
you talk
his-
about
is
there being
his-
something questionable? I
is-
can't think of anything questionable.
No, it's his to lose now. Really, the competition. He's just it's his to lose. If he screws up something, that's on him.
Yeah, no, it's nobody else's fault.
No, just keep your mouth shut, Tom Hanks, and ride this on out. You're gonna live on as a legend.
Yeah,
don't
give-
go smacking nobody. Just
Yeah.
Right.
good.
Keep your damn words out of your damn. No, something. like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
something
just-
to that effect. Yeah.
can we give a moment to talk about Dylan Baker, the accountant in the hotel room?
Oh, I love the accountant.
He freaks
Oh,
me. He's
yeah.
weird in every.
Yeah.
Have I ever seen a thing he isn't a total weirdo in? And the answer is no. He's so weird. He's weird, and I love him. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I just saw a
Tell us how you
whole.
feel about it though.
There was
Wait,
a
is he
whole.
weird?
There was a whole sub story on. I keep bringing this up on other shows, but Kim's watching The Good Wife, and it's very
Oh,
good
yeah.
in lots of ways. It's a pretty good show.
Yes.
And
He's a good wife.
he's in this thing as this pervy rich guy who gets some girl he's with, underage girls with, gets killed while he's with her, and he's claiming innocence. Anyway, it's a whole story. But there's nobody creepier when I see him in Hollywood. Like I don't know if I've ever seen him in something where I didn't go, you're weird and
You
gross.
definitely have, like, because sometimes he's used as just I'm a normal, like, almost like an invisible character.
Mm.
I'm trying to think of. I'm looking through his thing here to find that example, but he's like basically just I'm gonna move the plot forward, but I'm not. I'm nobody you should pay attention to. Keep on moving.
Don't look
Continue
at me.
along.
Don't look at me.
And well, in
God,
this
his list is so huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been around forever.
in this movie, he definitely stands out. Like
Yes.
he's directed and shot in a way that you have to pay attention to him because it's like a huge pivotal action sequence, right?
Right.
And the idea
He's
that
Mobster Karen, basically, is what he
Yeah.
Monster Karen.
but I love how he goes and gets an empty trunk and he's
Yeah.
like trying to waste time, and that whole sequence, with the exception of the stupid ticker tape machine, which is just, I'm so frustrated that thing is there, but like, you're in a freaking hotel in 1931. Oh my god. Oh, so anyway,
Yeah.
he's just perfect. And then I absolutely love that he dies off screen, and
Right.
then you come around the corner and see his body.
And you see him.
It's so beautiful.
So
or
in the
horrific or
original
whatever.
Spider-Man movies, before he became the Lizard in the Andrew Garfield movies, he was Peter Parker's teacher, Kurt Connors. But he wouldn't become, we got what's his face, Reese.
Put the lotion on the skin guy.
Or
no, that's not him.
Buffalo
No,
Bill.
Not him.
No, Reese.
I mix him up every time.
Anyway, we got a different guy playing Kurt Connors in the Andrew Garfield movies, but in the first three, he's Peter Parker's teacher. Just all right, Peter, quit fighting with Flash.
This actor, Dylan Baker, was born to play Mr. Furley in a Three's Company reboot.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
He's just, I don't know. He's a guy that the minute I hear he's in the cast, I go, okay.
He's going to be some weirdo. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's good. I mean, congrats to him. I'm sure he's really nice in real life.
I'm sure he wasn't weird in Last of the Mohicans, where he played Captain de Bougainville.
No, but he's probably super uptight. I'll bet you.
Probably super uptight. Yes.
Captain de
Oh,
Bougain?
he was in Planes. Oh my God. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. He's the driver of the car that, the truck.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot that was him. That's one of his first movies.
Yeah, that's in the classic, dude. I always forget that's him too.
She'll get it. I love that scene.
First credited theatrical performance was Owen in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah, that was great. If anything, it's his most nuanced
he says
role.
Owen's going to pick us up. It's okay. It's
fun. It was his best role and his first role. There you have it.
Yeah.
Can I have one more quick trope?
Always. Hold on. Here you go.
Whoops,
wrong. There it is.
This movie got its henchman from the Imperial Stormtrooper Marksmanship Academy. And the Imperial Stormtrooper Marksmanship Academy is the place where you get henchmen who can't ever hit a shot. And this is all of them. Every henchman in this movie, they cannot ever hit a shot. And you don't get your main character from there. Tom Hanks's character, even with a Tommy gun, which is known for having a terrible aim from a distance, he can kill people with that.
Yeah, but he's in the dark. They can't see him. By the way, the Academy for Stormtrooper Henchmen, they meet in a barn, oddly enough.
Nice.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
But no, Tom Hanks is in the dark, and you just see the muzzle flash from his gun, and so you can't hit him. He's a ghost.
Everybody else is shooting pistols. I mean, that's what Tommy gun's for. It's not supposed to be accurate. That's the reason why you have so many of them. It's like just keep going.
There's more. There's more. Like the first time.
It's good enough for Tommy. It's good enough for me.
Yeah.
The Jude Law shooting at the car outside the diner.
Oh, that was
Jude
amazing.
Law.
That shot was badass. That was definitely computer stuff. That was amazing. That bullet flies by us. I don't know if you noticed how close it got. It was so cool.
I didn't notice his computer.
I didn't notice. Yeah.
That was CG. I don't know. You sure? It
was totally CG, and it got really big on the screen. I wanted to pause it because it was so wild looking. The bullet it's like 3D, flies right by.
One that goes through the back window when Tom tells Michael Jr. to duck.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that at all. Wow.
It's cool.
I think I'm more impressed now knowing. If that's the case, I'm more impressed because I didn't notice it.
Yeah.
The good CG is the stuff you don't notice sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't talked much about that whole spree, like the little crime spree, but it was one of my favorite things they did in the movie because it was kind of a montage, but didn't feel like one because it had moments of great dialogue and him saying, the banker going, wait till they find out your name, and he's like, Michael Sullivan, go ahead and spell. You want to spell it?
Yeah.
All of that great interaction. I loved all that stuff.
And
I thought that was
I
great.
loved it too. And once again, Sam Menendez goes the route of making me feel like I'm smart. Menendez.
Yeah, Menendez.
His brother. Mendez.
Yeah.
Mendez, he does a smart thing by making me feel smart, which obviously I'm not. I can't even say his last name. So it's like, oh, how is he going to turn this around? Because they're after him. How's he going to turn it around? So what he does is he makes Rooney and all those guys, he makes those the problem by stealing the money and going, oh, now you've become a problem, Rooney.
Right,
So we got to take care of
exactly.
you. So it's
So it's like, all right, if we let you kill Connor, will you? Is this over? Will we? Is this finally done?
I'm hitting
Yeah.
you with the money, and I'm making it a problem because it is all about business of those guys, and it's really smart how the character plays that, and it makes me feel smart because they didn't dumb it down and go, "Well, son, the reason why we're doing this is we're putting the screws to them."
Yeah. One of the things I really appreciated about the movie was that they didn't shove the ending down my throat, but I knew what was coming even before I knew it. So, for example, like the whole thing, he's running from two things: one, from this problem and trying to keep his son safe, but also Jude Law is a freaking maniacal psychopath, and he's after him. Kind of,
it's personal.
It's personal now because after his face got all banged up from the glass, he was like, "Well, this is no longer just
turned him into a James Bond villain, basically."
Yeah, and I really like that part of it. But I knew, like, when Tom Hanks is in that beach house and it's kind of quiet and he's looking through the window, I remember the first time going, "Well, he's gonna get shot. I just feel it. It's coming. Here we go." And it was still satisfying though. Like it still had this thing of like, well, of course he got shot, and of course this is how it ends, and of course the kid's now involved in this direct way. Like. That all worked for me, even though I saw it a mile away.
Well, they've been telling us the whole story. They've been telling us that he's a murderer. They'll never get to heaven, and that beach is heaven. That's what essentially it just represents. And he can't have that, right? He can't. He won't get it. He gets to see a glimpse of it, but he won't get to keep it.
And that's the answer to the big question here. Like, how does this gangster who's killed so many people, who's so good at surviving, obviously he is a survivor, how does he walk into this house knowing that there's going to be an ambush because he's calling out his sister-in-law's name and she's not answering, right? So he knows that there's something up. How does he get jumped by a man just hiding in a corner and not see it? And the answer is, maybe this is sort of like limbo. This is like not real life. This is
and they talk about that in the very
Perdition, basically.
Right.
It's not just the city where his sister lives, but it's like
Perdition is just a better word for hell. I got yelled at as a little kid for using the word hell. My grandfather was like,
"Well, then perdition.
You can't say that." But I can say perdition.
What,
okay,
perdition.
Yeah.
You can go straight to perdition, Grandpa.
Yeah. Because perdition is swapped out for two things usually. Growing up, it was either the final destination of hell or it was the in between. Like purgatory is another term for it. Yeah. So you kind of see it in both ways, but yeah.
So this whole scene with the bright light and the beach and the sound of the ocean and the kid, like, what is the kid? Is the kid playing with a dog?
Yeah.
It's just a random dog. That's awesome. What an incredible thing. Someone actually thought, you know what? We should have a dog on this beach. That was a genius filmmaking thought right there. Amazing.
Because it elevates it to, a boy and his dog, and it's simple, and it's
it's the sister's dog, right? Because he even says, I told you they had a dog. Like it's the
Yep.
Yeah.
His
the
dog
sister's definitely dead because he took that dog with him.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I have a question about that. It's implied, obviously, but do we know if the sister's dead? Do we know for sure?
Well, there's some possibility, wiggle room. She said it would be, so I think absolutely, because when she's on the phone with him, she says it's going to be 2 weeks before she can get home. They're on the road for 6 weeks, according to the story. So I'm assuming she's dead. But we don't get that. But when he takes a dog with him, I'm pretty sure. I'm like, okay,
it is heavily implied that Jude Law's character kills her right after that phone call.
Right.
That's a good point. Like I said, I knew it was implied. I kind of secretly hope because she's the lead. She's the most innocent in the story.
Right.
The kids even now killed somebody. Everyone's got blood on their hands except the aunt, who should not be punished for this. Yeah. So I kind of secretly, in my own little brain and heart, said, I hope she's okay.
Yeah.
I've got one more little trope I want to. This is the tiniest trope.
A little trope here. I'll give you a tiny trope. Hold on. There, go for it.
Thank you. I couldn't help noticing Sam Mendes loves bathtubs.
Yeah, he does.
Oh,
every movie, freaking movie.
He's into
American Beauty has a scene where the girl is covered in rose petals in the bathtub. Training Day, the scariest scene in the movie is in a bathtub. Like what?
Training Day. That's not him. That's
he's not. You're right.
That's not Mendes. That's Fuqua and Antoine.
Well, thank you, Antoine Fuqua.
Yeah.
Anyway, like in this movie, when he comes around and he finally gets to kill Connor, I was just like, "Oh, Connor's gonna be in a bathtub." I just like you could just feel it coming.
It was a great shot
like-
too. Long tracking shot. Comes winding around that room, kicks open the door, looks at him for 2 seconds, pulls the gun up, triple tap, get the F out.
Right. And you don't see the actual shooting. You don't see him actually getting shot. You just see it in the mirror as the door closes again.
Yeah, you see him.
That way we don't hate Tom Hanks too much, right? We don't
Yeah.
see
Yeah,
we
it is
don't see him
kind of is a-
around bloody bodies. We see that for Jude Law. He's
Mhm.
when
Yeah.
he kills the guy who's not dead yet. I love that. He's like
Is
getting his hands dirty.
Is there a bathtub sequence in either Skyfall or Spectre? Is that what I'm thinking of?
There might have been because he did those, so it's possible. Like he clearly really likes the climactic resolution of the long running problem, and all his movies feature this. Like even 1917 is really just a movie about a long a mistake and then a long trip to fix it. Like he's really
I can't
good
think
at
of
it.
I can't think of a bathtub scene in Jarhead, but Jarhead is what you're describing. Jarhead is this long, slow burn where you're like, this is all going to come to a head, man.
I like that movie. That's the one with Gyllenhaal. Yeah, that's a good Sam Mendes movie. That's worth seeing if you've never seen it. Peter Sarsgaard is really good in that. Is it bad that every time I think of Peter Sarsgaard, all I think of is his close-up wiener in that Liam Neeson movie? Do you guys remember that?
You've mentioned this
I don't know
before.
if it's good or bad, but it is what we expect.
Yeah, it's what you expect me to say. But the movie is Kinsey, and if you've never seen it, it's very good. It's a great movie. But there is this scene where it is, 70 millimeter in your face. It's like, why are we doing that? Don't be doing that. I don't like it. Anyway, that's what I always think of. I can't help it. I see that guy in a movie, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember you.
You're gonna love
the
patron episode I've been putting together. I'm supposed to get to you.
Really? Is it all about giant penises and 70 millimeter?
I've been talking just about that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Being scarred from those kind of things.
gotcha.
There may be a mention about MC Gainey's penis as well.
Oh, good.
Sure. Well, that is scarring.
It is.
Yeah.
I love that because my upcoming monthly episode is the opposite of that. It's like seriously, I've been working on this opposite thing, so I can't wait. It's great.
No penises. Perfect. I can't wait. Smooth fronts.
Yeah.
Smooth fronts.
Smooth fronts. I love a good smooth front. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Can you guys think of anything else you'd like to say before we do some clips? Because we certainly have those.
The only other thing I've written down in my notes is it's really hard to bike on snow. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. You got to give props to the kid for that. Also, that song, the trivia claims that song where Newman and Hanks are on the piano at the party.
Oh, yeah.
That was them actually
It was.
doing that.
I believe it. Yeah. I like it.
That's cool, I thought. Because most of the time you can just fake that. It's not a hard thing to fake. But that fact that they did that together. I mean, Tom Hanks must have been losing his mind. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm sitting here with Paul Newman.
It was so important because the whole first third of the movie, you're struggling with understanding Connor.
Mm-hmm.
And he stands there and grins at what they're doing the entire time. And you're like, is it false? Is he really actually appreciating and enjoying this? And even when the kid asks him, you don't really know.
Yeah.
He's like, is he just mouthing off to a kid? You just don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
But the focus of the scene is on him and not the two people playing the piano. And that's like, it's just like really moving. And like, it actually made me hope a little bit for Connor to get some redemption, but he's not.
He's no way Connor's getting his shit at the end of that.
Yeah.
That dirty bastard. You shoot her in the back, kills the other little kid. Like anybody who can just kill a kid, freaking you're done by the end of this movie. Freaking
Oh, for sure. Nobody, exactly. Audiences would revolt if they let that guy go.
Yeah, you can't let him live. Let him be James Bond, but don't let him live. All right, clips time. It's where we do clips, and this is where we take audio from the movie and we play it. And I'm going to start with this one. I don't want to see those dice.
I don't want to see those dice.
Don't show me those dice.
Oh,
your mother. Oh!
She's dead.
Let's see. A hug for old men.
So, who's got a hug for a lonely old man?
Yeah, get in here. Yeah. I smoked a lot in my younger years. He died of
smell like soup.
I found out he died of lung cancer, and they did attribute it to his early life smoking. But making it to 85 and just then getting it, that's pretty good.
Yeah. I'm always like, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty
You
good.
make it to 92. You can make it to your 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you did pretty good.
I think you.
did
Oh
pretty
yeah.
good.
Yeah. I don't think you should complain at all. You made it, baby.
Yeah.
Hell no, yeah.
Amazing
You
little
win.
Here's an amazing little quote.
Hope that he gets to heaven at least an hour before the devil finds out he's dead.
I love that line.
Yeah.
I know it's common. Yeah.
It mirrors
Title
the
of the
ending.
movie too. Before the Devil Knows You're Dead with Marissa Tomei.
And isn't that like a it's an old phrase. This isn't something the movie made up.
It's a toast. May you just kind of like what he said there. Like may you make it to heaven before the devil knows you're dead.
Yeah, it's great. Love that.
Yeah. Unless he's waiting in the beach house.
This is the part where I just wrote, brothers, man.
Are we rich? No, stupid.
Jeez, easy on your brother.
Stupid.
He's gonna die tomorrow.
Exactly. A little compassion for the kid.
James Bond sure do sound different.
My beloved father throws your undeserving little brother the wake of his life, and this is your thank you?
So weird.
It's one where you can kind of hear the English accent a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah.
Throws his brother the wake of his life.
Here's Hank's yell. There are a bunch of them in the movie, but you know the sound.
Jesus Christ, Connor, what the hell are you thinking?
It's so like it may as well be
so
money.
bad.
It could be Money Pit. It could
Thanks,
be
Woody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We gotta go save the kid.
Andy!
All right.
Because, Buzz.
Here's Paul Newman hitting the table hard. All right, that's pretty good.
Oh, that's the I would like to apologize. You would like to apologize?
Yeah,
such
try
a-
it.
God,
That is
great
such a
scene.
great scene.
Here's
Yeah,
his
God,
here's that line where he says try again. Here you go.
You would like to apologize? Try again.
Ooh, that try again.
Oh
Okay.
God, yeah. Whatever you say, Mr. Newman.
Okay, Paul.
All right, we haven't had a good shit in a while. That sounds terrible. We haven't had a good recorded person saying the word shit in a while.
I'm drinking coffee. I'm hoping.
And so here's one to remember.
Oh, shit.
That was the the drug-addled club owner that you went to visit and that tried to take him out.
With his-
He
with
was
his
so
Peep-
slimy.
His Peep magazine.
Yeah, Peep. I want to subscribe to Peep. Peep. It's just nothing but sugar-coated Easter shit every month.
Right.
All right, here's when you see the dog chewed up a pillow, this is what you do.
Don't imagine it's the pussy.
It wasn't the cat.
That was kind of shocking. I was riding along in the film and stuff, and all of a sudden that dropped. I'm like, oh,
That was maybe the most adult language in the movie. It really wasn't.
yeah.
I don't know. The movie.
Daniel Craig gets to drop a few F-bombs, which also felt odd somehow. Like something about 1931. Like it just, it just,
Yeah,
a lot.
It is a lot. I guess they swore back then, but you forget. But for the most part, the movie, I don't know, could have been maybe whatever. Could have been.
I liked
it could have been PG-13.
I liked that it didn't hold that hard edge because this is supposed to have been a story being told by a kid, and so I liked the tone.
Yeah, it was good.
He smokes a pipe at 12.
Right.
Yeah, pipe smoking early. That's what you do. I got a clip here. That's really weird. So, so this truck your dad used to have before when he was in Houston. All right, Ibbot. He drove to Vermont because he wanted to take some extra stuff, do a nice long drive across the country, and out of the back of this thing plopped a box that was full of old cassette tapes like Maxells and stuff.
And Peeps.
Yeah, and Peeps. And in this box was some audio of you. This is actually of your girlfriend asking you after prom. You took her. You said, "Hey, do you want to go to my house, meet my parents?" And she said yes.
So much setup. I can't wait.
Yeah. So you go to your house. You're at your house, right? You pop into the front door, and she asked about your house. Just say, "Hey, would you like it here? What's the deal with your house?" And this is what you said.
This house is not our home anymore. It's just an empty building.
Man, you. No wonder she didn't hang around, dude. That was very deep.
Yeah,
and
it's right. No, it definitely moved her away.
Yeah.
It moved her away.
Moved her completely away.
Completely away.
Everything except the food.
Everything except the food.
I just like that line.
Everything
except the food.
Except the food.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
That little scene was so good. And him,
Oh, the diner? Oh, the diner's amazing.
Sweating it and pretending like it was part of the, it's the liquor. It's the booze.
There's a thing in the trivia that says that they told Jude Law to be like a rodent always.
Yeah, and he did it too. He was like always crouched over.
Yeah. The way he would look at things, kind of tilt his head a little bit, like a little weird little rodent looking for his cheese. And he was such a dick to that hooker. I was so mad at him. He's a butthole. Anyway,
when he was doing the little money thing, he was doing what is that ice cream thing they do at the Turkish ice cream? What is it that they do on the side of the road?
Yeah, but they won't give it to you. I hate that. It's like, just give me the damn ice cream. Those videos give me anxiety. I hate those.
Yeah, me too.
All right, got a special?
You got a special?
Everything's special.
Oh man. All right.
Example, maybe?
Here's that shooting the dead thing.
I shoot the dead.
He shoots the dead. Okay. And then the rest of the movie had nothing dumb to say, so there's only 2 more of these. Top marks for speed.
Top marks for speed. No marks for cookery.
Cookery. I said it every morning. I say it every morning at breakfast now.
Yeah.
It's much appreciated.
Wouldn't it be great though if he just went like he did in the Planes, Trains? That'd be really good.
Totally.
All right, I'm glad it's you.
I'm glad it's you.
Cool final words there. Well, there's your clips, everybody. Now it's time for the Film Sack checklist. The Film Sack checklist goes like this: difficult revenge murders always happen in the rain. Check. The kid shouldn't have. The kid shouldn't had to have see it, but let's go ahead and show him even more. I don't know what I meant by that.
Yeah.
Finally, we all want to live with those farmers. Check. I'd live with them.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Oh, especially after they got the money. They started fixing up the house.
Yeah. Painting there. Yeah.
I could hire people to do
something out in the garage was not how I thought it was going to get money.
Well, think about it.
When somebody. Usually when somebody stays for the bed and breakfast and they say we left you something, it's not that.
And plus you're in the Midwest during the worst part of the Depression. You're trying to make ends meet, and the crops aren't going great, and suddenly there's a giant bag of money. That's a pretty good deal for them.
Yeah.
I would have loved this movie so much if when the kid returns to the old farmers at the end, they had a Rolls Royce sitting out. And
just spin it.
They went total Beverly Hillbillies kind of thing. Yeah.
House is abandoned. They're just they're gone. Oh well. Let's see. Let's move to Star Trek connections. Got to be somebody somewhere.
Yeah, sure. We got quite a few. So the lady farmer was played by Peggy Roeder. The cast name is Farmer Virginia. I love that.
Yeah.
She was also the piano teacher in Groundhog Day, and she was in one episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. That was the episode called The Begotten, and she had a tiny role. That's an Odo episode. So her husband in this movie, James Green, credited as Farmer Bill.
Scott was hoping it would be Pedro, by the way.
Yeah. I did too.
If you remember him from anything, it's from the 16 episodes of Parks and Recreation where he was a city councilman in Pawnee. But he was also in 3 different Star Trek things. He was in the Next Generation episode Who Watches the Watchers, the Deep Space Nine episode The Reckoning, and the Voyager episode Passerby, where he played Passerby. Our big one, I think, of these 3, the one that sticks out to me is Harry Greener. That was Mr. McDougal in this movie. Again, if you remember him from anything, he was the mayor in 14 episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But this was in Star Trek Voyager. He was in the episode Sacred Ground. In Enterprise, he was in 2 episodes called Demons and Terra Prime. And in The Next Generation, he was in the movie Tin Man. He played Tam Elbrun, the guy who comes onto the Enterprise. Really memorable episode, Tin Man, and that's Harry Groner. Mr. McDougal in this movie, not really much of a role here, but that's it.
Wow, that's a lot of I didn't expect this many connections. I thought there'd be less. I thought you'd say, the kid did a stint on Discovery or something.
Yeah, right.
I really didn't expect that. So well done. Nicely researched.
This is our 6th Tom Hanks movie that we've done. And every one of them feels like there's a handful of Star Trek connections. Like, I guess just because of when Tom Hanks is making movies. All right.
Or
Yeah.
maybe because Tom Hanks is awesome.
Maybe that. Here, let me do the math real quick. So we got this. We got Money Pit. We got The Burbs.
We didn't watch The Money Pit.
Yeah, we did.
Right.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we sacked.
We absolutely sacked it.
That laugh.
Yeah, I have that stupid laugh clip.
Burbs.
We did Burbs already, so I got. What am I missing? Oh, the one with Dabney Coleman, rest his soul, who just died yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, Cloak and Dagger?
No. No, the Dragnet was the one. Dragnet, and what else is
9 to 5?
I'm missing one, Brian.
We did see 9 to 5, but that didn't have Tom Hanks. We're on a Tom Hanks list, not a Dabney Coleman list.
Yeah. So who am I missing? That's 5.
You are missing Cloud Atlas and
Cloud Atlas.
What was the second one after Cloud Atlas? What was it? Sorry, you cut out.
I know. I've been cutting out a lot today.
Yeah, I don't know.
Code.
Oh, the Da Vinci Code. Okay.
Oh,
yeah. For some,
we never watched the follow up to that.
No.
Oh, Angels and Demons, and there were 2 follow-ups, weren't there?
We don't need to. We don't need to do that.
It's good. It's good. It's good. No, we're good.
Yeah.
We recently saw Daniel Craig in the sequel to Angels and Demons, which was called Cowboys and Aliens.
Now that you frame it like that, I kind of liked it more than I thought.
Yeah, it's actually a better movie now. Thanks.
Yeah, actually, that movie, I like that movie more than people told me to like it. I thought it was all right.
Mm-hmm.
I skipped it in theaters for a reason, but
Stop telling me to like stuff.
Freaking Ibbot, dude! Ibbot rewatching those Apes
movies.
The
Apes movies.
You got me so into it. I've been deep diving, looking at Toby Koba's Toby, I forget his last name, the voice actor, bodywork guy. All the stuff he does. Can't think of his name.
Yeah.
But Koba is one of the greatest villains of all time. I'm telling you right now, I will say this without any hesitation. I think that trilogy. I haven't seen the 4th one yet, so I'll include that when I see it.
Sure.
But I think it's. Like since Lord of the Rings, I don't know that there's ever been. I don't think there's been a better trilogy in my mind. This is such strong 3-part material.
It is, yeah, and every part of that movie is so different from the last. They're not all the same movie.
Yeah, not at all. And they go different directions, but there's the heart of it is always Caesar. Obviously, it's a little different in the new one, but I'm very. How do I put this? I'm really glad this exists.
Non-MCU trilogy that I can think of, because I think Guardians of the Galaxy is a very solid trilogy.
Yeah, it's very good.
The other, like Thor's uneven, and it's actually 4 movies now. Iron Man is uneven, but outside the MCU, the Apes is you're right. Yeah,
the stuff they do, and you realize what's happening is that it's not the technology and the CGI and the capture tech is all very impressive, no question. And it holds up strangely well for 2011, 2014. Those movies look incredible.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, when you back away from it a little bit, you realize that what you're actually appreciating isn't the technology that's covering everything. It's these amazing performances by real people just under the digital skin.
Yeah,
without
like Judy
that,
Greer of all people.
She's so good in it. Everybody's good in it. The one Bad Ape played by
Bad Ape, Indy.
Yeah, Zahn, Timothy Zahn.
Not Timothy Zahn. He's the author.
It's a Zahn.
Steve Zahn.
Steven Zahn.
Yeah, Steve Zahn is amazing in that role. Amazing.
Yeah.
I just cannot get enough of it right now.
Before I realized that the new movies take place 300 years in the future, when I saw the preview, I thought, oh, that sounds like Zahn again. So interesting.
Oh, is it Zahn again?
Yeah,
it's not Zahn again.
Zahn and Zoff again. Yeah, exactly.
Zahn and Zoff.
All right, moving on to what now? Checklist. I already did that. How about the Star Trek connections? We did that. How about the soundtrack? Great. I'd give it a VG for very good. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Top-notch stuff there.
I want this one. This is like one of those where I didn't ever get this score, and I want to go collect it so I can listen to it.
Yeah, collect the score.
To your collection.
Yeah, you have a vast score collection, so you know.
Ooh, and it's starting to get into other media, and I'm like, is this going to be finally the thing that makes me a vinyl collector? No, let's not do that, because like, what's so great about my my collection is that if I keep it all into one thing, and what I did is I ripped it all into MP3s at some point, then I can have it wherever I want it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to
Yeah.
Where everybody knows that MP3s are the highest quality format of any audio.
This is not about quality. This is about access.
Portability.
About quantity.
It's about having it. Yeah, it's about having it where you want
accessibility. Yeah.
There you go.
See, this is I've always said it. Probably this is great that you love it that way. There's nothing wrong with how you're doing it. You're doing it right for Randy.
Yeah.
However,
do
I will
it right
say
for yourself.
this. I don't like having huge quantities of media at my disposal. I love for me to have to put effort into accessing it because just like anything else, when I make playlists on streaming services, I ignore half the stuff. I just turn off for background noise. I can just listen to anything for background noise. Jesus.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of in between. I get the whole like tangibility of some vinyl in that. I get it.
Yeah, I like the vinyl because it makes me engage with the music.
Exactly. You have to spend time setting that up and listening to it, so it makes you appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Sure.
But then I do that once in a while and go, boy, I'd really just rather hit search and then hit play.
Yeah.
Kind of want the best of both worlds. I saw somebody's selling a small turntable that is not an actual record player, but it looks like one kind of miniature. So it's got an arm that goes down. There's vinyl spinning, but all it is a remote Bluetooth speaker. So when you connect to it, it will pretend like, the arm will go, and it'll act like it's playing. It'll even make a little sound at first, and then it's just Bluetooth streaming from your phone. It's pretty cool.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, I kind of want that. That's my little...
I've got players that have Bluetooth in them, so you can use them as a speaker as well as a turntable. But I don't have any that fake the playing of your.
hey, Randy, how excited are you for your MP3 collection that Winamp is being released the source code in September?
I thought it was already. Wasn't that already a thing? I thought Winamp was already.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was last September then.
I think it's been out for a while.
I remember getting Winamp at some point, like last year, like getting it again, like the third time in my life that I got, but then I didn't end up using it much.
Yeah.
I just can't, like, there's this thing about collecting something, like, what's your purpose? Like, for a lot of people, it's really more about the collection itself. Like, I have a cousin who back, I don't know, 20 years ago, I was at his house and he was really excited because he'd saved up all this money and he bought a Bang & Olufsen CD changer, and it was an art piece, man. This was like,
with the the thing that slides across the, they're gorgeous.
Yeah, and like that wasn't my purpose for.
Oh, jeez!
Fires! Am I on fire?
Who's got the fire drill?
I think it was Randy. He's got a fire alarm went off. He's muted us now because it was so loud.
That story was so hot it set the fire alarm off.
Are you all right? Everything good?
Like just like two runs, like it squealed twice and then stopped.
Hate when they
it's
do
a burglar alarm though, right? Or is it a fire alarm?
It's a fire alarm.
I don't know. Hate it when
I had
fire
that
alarms
happen
do that.
About 2 months ago. Mine was setting off in the kitchen. Come to find out, the blower motor in my AC unit was going bad, and it would just like blew out smoke all of a sudden.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, because I ran in there, I was like, "What's on fire? Who's you? Everybody okay?" Nothing. All right.
Yeah. No, dude.
It's weird.
Just the sound of that gave me PTSD about all the dumb stuff. So dumb.
God, yeah.
So anyway, just to close on what Dunaway said, I found myself recently only really listening to my soundtrack collection as a Spotify playlist, which is like I boiled it down to all the tracks that I like the most, and it's a huge playlist, but it's like, oh right, so I wasn't really about collecting things.
Yeah.
And I definitely wasn't about displaying anything because I really don't care about, like.
I don't either. I don't display crap. My record's in a pile.
I want a vertical turntable. They make them.
Yes,
I just want to save up for one just because it's like having a horizontal one is great, but it's such a pain in the butt. Takes up so much room. You can't put anything on top of it because you've got to like have the dust cover that goes over.
Clearance.
I just want something I can mount on the wall, connect to my stereo, and then you get, especially with all of the vinyl that I have that is transparent or has a picture disc or whatever, then you get it as a visual piece too. Yeah. So when I'm not playing something, it looks cool.
I like that.
Yeah, the cool looking things are typically sound like crap. That's
the problem. Yes.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Anyway, wouldn't it be funny if there was a fire? And here I am, podcasting, and like at some point a fireman comes into my room and is like,
"Sir,
you gotta leave here. Let's go."
The show's almost over. Wait, sir.
Yeah. You got to get the F out, sir. No, we're doing a show. I have to do my. I still have to do my the Twitter
I
post.
gotta read my poetry.
My Twitter post.
Yeah.
I read that. Yeah. I worked on that hard.
Well, speaking of things like that, let's get to that. The social media post. And we're going to start this week with Randy in case there's a real fire. All right, that way we can get his out of the way. So, Randy, let's start with you like we never do before. Go.
Road to Perdition. When I was a kid, life was rough. They killed my mom and my little bruv. Then my dad went on a spree of shooting everyone but me, which sucks, you know? I was just 12. He and I barely fed ourselves. One bad guy lived and made my dad croak. So I went to live with some country folk.
Oh, you know what?
Love it.
Pretty good. I liked it.
Boy can't survive. I like it.
Yeah.
Swing that mic over to Brian Dunaway. What do you got?
Oh, I'll tell you what I have. I have a Winamp pulled up on browser because Scott's doing a link, so I got to get back to my show notes and
Yeah.
then scroll down to Road to Perdition. Nobody is drinking out of the Father of the Year coffee mug in this movie. Hashtag pipe smoking for preteens. Hashtag only murderers in the building.
Nice. Brian Ibbett, take us home.
Road to Perdition. Connor will leave your remaining son shaken, not stirred.
Oh, you made a reference to the James Bond thing.
Yeah.
Wace, nicely done. Let's get to these alternate titles. These are just handed to me. I got this list right here. This is called Foley Work.
Cheer.
I hear it even.
This was almost called Forrest Gump, James Bond, and Cool Hand Luke talk to a single white female. It was maybe a little too long. Or Scarface, The Beach House. All right, that almost happened.
Okay,
get it, Scarface, get it, because he had
the scars all over his face.
Yeah. See, we're all on the same page.
By the way, we didn't really talk about that. That was cool. It's almost too cool for the movie.
Yeah,
like it was like that almost took me out. I was fine with it, but I was just like, whoa, this movie just sprung this on us. You know, wow.
It was a lot. Let's get to the emails and the feedbacks and the whatnots. We got one here. It's an email. This is from Jeff Hughes, aka Jeff Kent H, on streams before we moved to YouTube. Hey, good news. We're still on Twitch.
Yeah.
Anyway, it says, hey, hello, Scott, Brian, and Randy. Longtime listener of Film Sack and still sadly missing the instance. Well, good luck with that.
No.
I've been hearing the mention of Crossroads on a few episodes of this, and the whole time I assumed it was the Ralph Macchio Crossroads and wondering what all the negativity was about. Then, during the mailbag episode, I figured it out. Also wondering if Steve Jobs with Michael Fassbender is ever on your list. This is one of my top 10 movies. I would love to hear you guys sack it. Thanks for the great show. Well, to address your first point, the Macchio one probably has a better chance of getting done.
Yeah, it does now anyway, for sure.
Yeah. But to your point about the Steve Jobs thing, I don't know. Maybe I never saw it. The Fassbender one. Was that who wrote that? The guy that did West Wing, right?
Sorkin?
Adam Sorkin? Adam?
Aaron
Sorkin. Sorkins? Calling Mr. Sorkin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because there's so many different Jobs movies to choose from. Because there's the Kutcher one, there's the Fassbender, and then there's the. And do you count the Anthony Michael Hall as Steve or as?
Yeah, it's called Pirates of Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
Noah Wiley, as Steve Jobs,
which of course was well before Steve Jobs died.
Yeah, that was an early one. I wouldn't mind doing that one, because it's weird. It was TV only, but still, it's a movie.
Yeah, I've heard it's a movie, so it fits in the Film Sack thing, right?
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Still a movie.
Yeah.
And I remember his Bill Gates being just over the effing top. That was something, if I remember right. He was like a total bastard in that. Yeah, I would do that. I don't know about the Fassbender one. I just haven't seen, so I just can't speak to it. So I never saw it.
It was good. That's the one where you get him in like 3 or 4 different times in his life before specific keynotes, introducing the Mac, introducing the iPhone, but it's all takes place backstage at an Apple keynote, and you get those moments with him and Winslet. They're really, actually, I think it's really good. I don't know if there's stuff there's definitely stuff probably to make fun of, but
yeah, and like today's movies, it's one we all like, and we probably could do it.
It would create a good conversation, one way or the other.
Is there a scene where he finally breaks from Xavier and decides to lead the mutants himself? And
he does, and then he says, "Oh, Charles, I have one more thing."
Ah, great! And then Charles says, "Damn it, Wesley!" All right,
Damn it, Wesley.
All right, moving on. Here's a text at 801-471-0462. This is from Ryan, or Commerce City, Colorado. You know where that is, Brian?
Oh, I do know. That's a place when it comes up in my Lyft app, I say, nope, I don't want that ride.
I would like not to go there, please.
Because I go there and I never get out. Nobody ever wants to leave Commerce City. They always want to arrive in Commerce City.
Nobody leaves Commerce City.
Alive, anyway.
It says, hello, Sack Pack. I like that. Have we ever been called that before? I like that a lot, actually. Yeah. There's a T-shirt in there or something. It says, Dunaway's mailbag answer of wanting to watch more 80s horror stuff struck me with a couple of movies that I loved as a kid but may not hold up today. Akin to Flight of the Navigator, the kid-oriented movie The Wizard, and Little Monsters. These both starred Fred Savage, and Little Monsters reminded me a lot of Monsters, Inc. in world building. Wanted to get y'all's thoughts on these two from my childhood, says Ryan. P.S. In line with 80s horror, maybe Puppet Master?
Oh, man, I would love to cover the giant Puppet Master series. There's so many of those. They get worse progressively.
I don't think I've ever seen a. Don't think I've seen a Puppet Master.
Oh, they're so fun. But yeah, Little Monsters is great.
Yeah, I just saw the movie If, and a lot of it like reminds me of that. Little Monsters, the imaginary friend, the drop dead Fred, and the that sort of thing. And
don't forget about Howie Mandel as the pokey-eared monster.
Oh God, yeah, it's so. They showed a clip of that at the Draft House before If, and it was like, God, I'd forgotten about this movie.
Yeah.
But what's funny about that is Daniel Stern plays Savage's dad, and then in the Wonder Years, they're the same character, just old and young. The voice of Stern. And
I forgot that was even a thing. Yeah, he is the dad, or he's the narrator of his older self. Yeah.
And then I met Winnie Cooper.
Yeah.
And we had chocolate and vanilla ice cream. Don't waste my time.
Yep. Look at that shitty poster, though. I just put it.
I love the poster. Monsters, I think for sure.
I haven't seen the movie, but I can't imagine the poster is worse than the movie.
Oh man. I bet, but
Brian can defend it. I feel like.
When I defend these movies, it's because it's like, well, I mean,
you have to justify your purchase of the Blu-ray.
Well, I mean, it's not like it was written for a bunch of, it's like 4 middle-aged men. This movie is definitely not that. It's not like, okay, way to go see this. This is written for kids.
I have a question though. On that poster, his earring looks like 3PO. Is it?
I've never thought about that.
I think it might be C-3PO. You got to zoom in quite a bit.
It would not be surprising if they did that.
I mean, I think
it's just a skeletal. Let me see. Open
funny,
the browser and then let's zoom and enhance.
Here's
pretty good. That's pretty funny though.
The skeleton.
Skeleton.
Okay.
Yeah. We're talking about Howie Mandel's earring.
Yeah.
It's a skeleton.
Yeah.
It looks.
No, we're talking about Fred Savage's earring.
Does he have one? He doesn't have one.
No, he doesn't have one.
It just has
a though eventually.
It's probably because it's yellow, but it has a 3PO vibe.
It does have a 3PO vibe. Yeah, when you see it big, it's definitely a skull on top of there.
It's part of my pitch.
Let's put this on the list. It's I think very sackable just from the trailer that I saw.
All right, I'm in. Let's do it. So congratulations, Ryan. We're gonna watch at least that. Puppet Master's a very likelihood too, as well.
Oh, for sure.
That's a Halloween kind of thing, though.
Yeah,
they're not good.
That's okay.
They're not
though.
good.
That's okay.
But they're amazing.
We could do that. The Wizard. I've always hesitant on the Wizard just because I think
we should watch that for another show we do, Scott.
For Play Retro. That might be a good idea because the whole thing was a Nintendo commercial. It really was.
Yeah.
And I cannot overstate how hard this was advertised to me at that year. It was everywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if they found a way to get ads for the Wizard into my middle school. They were so pervasive on this thing. And like I just can't I don't know. I've never seen it. It was on every cover of freaking Nintendo Power for months, and it turned me away from the movie.
You talking about the Wizard? Yeah. I mean, and the whole thing was to coincide with the release of Super Mario Brothers 3, which featured prominently that was the competition in the Wizard, and no one had seen the game yet. Like, so the game hits, or the movie hits, and then just after the game comes out, but they were literally talking about a game that didn't exist, so that pumped up all this hype for it.
And guess who's not the Wizard?
Christian Slater. Christian Slater's not the winner.
Yeah, that's it. You nailed it.
He's in there, though.
Let's talk about that. Yeah,
he's in there.
Who's the woman in there that went on to a music career?
Blondie.
Alanis Morissette? Oh.
No, it's not. More indie. Let's see here. I got to look her up. Jenny Lewis.
Oh, Jenny Lewis.
Jenny Lewis.
That's right.
Oh, right. Yeah, she's
Indie
in,
musician extraordinaire. Yeah.
Yeah, she does all kinds of cool stuff now.
And by the way, Fred Savage is
Rilo
not
Kiley.
he's not the wizard, by the way. Even though he's featured as who you think is the wizard, he's not the wizard. Spoiler.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Movie ruiner.
I know.
The movie ruiner. That's your super
The
villain name.
movie ruiner.
Yep, that's you. All right. Well, anyway, thank you for your messages. We love it. And keep those coming. 801-471-0462 or email us 801-4, that's the number again, filmsack@gmail.com. Real quick, I want to thank some patrons, some long-timers who've been with us for a long time. BBS Skoggs, Gary and Corey Kudgler. I'm not sure how you say that last name. Or Guggler?
Juggalo, maybe?
Gigolo. He's just a gigolo, and everyone I know, something.
Sir, did you say BBS, like bulletin board system?
Yeah, BBS Skoggs is his name, or Cogs. Yeah, that's cool. Maybe he ran a BBS in the 90s. I don't know. Download my GIFs at 24 minutes each. Anyway, no commercials ever. That's one good thing. You also get these host specials. Dunaway's about to submit one. Very excited about that. Watch for that. We got that happen every month. We got art going out in the mail. I forget what this month is, but I was proud of it. I remember that. And other cool stuff. You get pre-show content every week. All kinds of reasons to join and none not to. Sign up today at patreon.com/filmsack. Our next movie will be
The Hitcher.
Oh, shit!
1986.
Oh, snap.
We've been circling this one for so long. It's finally streaming. It's on Max. We're gonna see Rutger Hauer and C. Thomas Howell and the Hitcher.
Run.
I am so excited for this. This was forbidden fruit in my house. This was like RoboCop levels of you're not allowed to see this in the house.
Robert Cop, you mean?
Yeah, Robert.
We
Cop.
get more Jennifer Jason Leigh in kind of a dual role.
Oh, I didn't know she was in this. Oh yeah, there she is. Third build.
Yeah,
look at that right there at the top.
But yeah, this movie is legendary in my circles, and I am so excited to see this. This is on Max, is it?
It's on Max. Finally, we're gonna go ahead and watch it while we have a chance, and don't get your hopes up too much.
Oh,
sure.
I can't wait.
Mine are up.
Diggity dog.
HBO is where I first saw it, so it's only appropriate that it's the place where
That's where I saw
we'll
it.
see it.
This feels like 2 a.m. on a Saturday night at your friend's house.
It totally does.
Yeah.
Oh, so excited. All right. Anyway, The Hitcher next week. Catch it while you can on Max, because Randy's right. That thing will disappear before you freaking know it. It's been ephemeral for years. So
yeah, it'll stick its thumb out and get out of here.
Yeah,
better watch it.
It'll hitch its way to not here town. Anyway, that's next week. And in the meantime, you can go to our website, filmsack.com. All links are there. Everything you need right there. You want to contact us? It's all there. That'll do it for us. For me, for Brian, and for Randy.
I'm glad you.
We'll see you next time. That's the wrong one.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
I don't want to see those dice.
Okay, buddy.